We, the ThyGap podcast, take thee, loyal listener, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Welcome back to another brand new ThyGap podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you're feeling great because we're feeling great over here. My name is Bogus Noob, and with me is my unfaithful co-host,
Being Brute.
What is up, Brute? Episode 14 of the ThyGap podcast. We just keep rolling and rolling. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. It was a fantastic week up till now. I meant that it was always nice not to be in front of you, sitting across a mic, wearing those jeans, toe near your knees,
And when we are not in front of you, dear listeners, where do you find us? You find us on Instagram,
@_ThyGap,
Twitter,
@ThyGap,
Facebook.
@ThyGap it is.
That's all it is. That's where you find us when we're not speaking into your ears so tenderly and creepily every week.
Almost to a point where you want to itch your ear. Hard. Very hard. But Bogus, how have you been?
I've been great, bro. I've been looking forward in anticipation to recording a new episode by myself, actually, but I have to accommodate you, unfortunately.
Because we've invested in 2 mics, so we as well use the other one.
Yeah, we can't even return it now.
Exactly. But this episode is going to be really amazing.
Really?
Yeah, because this is the story of how a man and a woman can be together for a lifetime.
What a fixed patriarchal view. Let's find out more.
So finally, Bogus, we just missed a bullet with the whole number 13.
Barely scraped through because the power did go out, and for a minute there we were scared that we lost our recording.
Yeah.
But all's well that ends well.
The problems of cheap production. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Every small thing is like a huge problem.
Yeah. The hurdles.
Like the great Ravi Shastri says, tantalizingly close. Your favorite.
Yeah.
And also another great Sanjay Manjrekar says,
Oh, God.
rippling muscles
Yeah.
of the player.
Yeah. Which is so relevant to what we went through.
Yeah. It did take a lot of muscle. We had to light a candle,
Yeah.
flex our forearms to light a match, and then hold the candle in one hand.
Right.
Then precariously place the candle right above the recorder, almost burning down the whole set.
Yeah, our deltoids got a real workout, whatever those muscles are.
Yeah. And then, and this is under pressure situation, by the way.
Right.
This was not just we were very comfortable in whatever we had. It was pressure circumstances. My wife was abusing both of us for not helping her out and just doing this shit even in the dark. Takes a lot on you, by the way.
To this day, I don't know what deltoids are.
Deltoids are like the muscles which form on the neck. Those are deltoids.
Way to kill the suspense. Thanks.
Yeah. You don't have to work out for that. I've done it all. I know it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bogus, again, what is today's topic?
Holy matrimony.
No, today's topic is, why are you not married?
That's not today's topic.
That is exactly today's topic, Bogus.
No, that's not today's topic at
I
all.
can't believe that you have not come prepared for this.
No, you said today's topic was marriage.
Yeah.
And you wanted to talk about it from both sides of the table.
Yeah, both sides of the coin. That
Both
was
sides
the
of the
phrase.
coin.
For a guy who's so well educated and well read,
Right.
you don't seem to be remembering a lot of phrases which are so popular.
Table also applies.
It's called across the table, not both sides of the table. It's called both sides of the coin.
Potato.
No, it can't be potato. They're two different things. So, by the way, that's how marriage is. Anything can be an argument.
Oh, wow.
I'm just prepping you up for it.
Right.
This is how it feels.
That was
to be married.
I was cherishing those moments while they lasted.
Were you almost thinking of, this is what I'll write in my diary today?
No, I was just thinking how next year on this exact day, there's no way I'll not remember such a special thing that happened.
Yeah.
So this is what a marriage feels like.
Exactly how it feels like. Anything you pick on. So to start off with, by the way, yes, today's topic is marriage. How marriage is in it and outside from it.
How wonderful.
From inside and outside. That's the exact thing that I wanted to tell.
And who's here to talk about marriage? Two guys, one of whom who's not married, first of all. Second is one who's been married for what, like 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years is a big time, man.
In dog years, that's like 1 day of marriage.
In dog years, that's like 21 years to Bewkoof.
Of marriage.
Yeah.
That's a different scale. It goes backward.
No.
Yeah.
You can't just keep changing the
Because
scales.
time slows down, right?
In dog years?
In marriage.
In marriage, that's why I'm here, by the way. To tell you, to break the myths of marriage. Okay? Because, I'll tell you, by the way, let me give you a little background of why I was picking on this topic.
Okay.
The first thing that I've observed is nobody, I think, from a very fair place has evaluated marriage. I've seen a lot of content about marriage.
What expertise are you bringing 3 years into this?
It's not expertise. It is my take. I'm not. You are calling it as expertise because I'm an expert on so many different things.
See, that's how you speak about everything. That's why I call it expertise.
That's because I'm a great actor.
Just a dick.
I am you, boss. Why are you? Why are you like? Why are you even?
No, I was just saying this is how a marriage is like. Yeah.
I know, but so I'm playing the wife's role here.
Okay.
Like, even though I deserve it at some level, I know. But, I have to put out a show that I don't deserve it.
Exactly. You have to use your tears, as they say.
Yeah, for a guy, it's mostly anger.
No, for the wife.
For the wife, yeah. I mean...
That's the nuke button. That's like the red button that two people have to press at the same time.
By the way, that is a revelation for me.
What, tears?
Okay, yeah. I mean, the rate at which... they can bring out tears.
Of course.
Right? It's beautiful, man.
It's a God-given gift.
God-given gift. Seriously. It's like, and the exact opposite of that for a man.
Legendary plumbing. Just in a matter of seconds, you got water.
Intense flush system.
Yeah.
It is the highest quality of, what do you call, fire extinguishing system. What is that called? Fire safety. Yeah, it's beyond Hindware. Like, Hindware is so local. I mean, I'm sure there's like a premium brand in toiletry equipment, which probably is like
I thought you were talking about Indian women, so probably that's why I said
No. So this is a beauty, eh? And I heard Chris Rock say this.
Okay.
Chris Rock said that across the globe, the take on relationships or marriages or parenting is the same. People apparently react to these jokes the same way, irrespective of where he performed. And Chris Rock said it on a very big stage. It was on Graham Norton's show. And I consider Graham Norton to be one of the best talk show hosts. So that's a huge stage.
Craig Ferguson, man. Hands down. Craig Ferguson is the best.
Yeah? I don't know. I think Craig Ferguson is a little obnoxious for me. Listen to the whole thing. Like, have patience for a guy who's like, I don't know, how old are you? 43?
That was such an obnoxious thing to say, so I immediately had to reject it.
No, for me, I felt like, okay, fine. It takes some time for me to like catch hold of him.
Okay.
As to in the conversation. Right? But anyways, I want to ask you a couple of questions.
I want to ask you one big question. Go ahead.
Ask your question. One big question. That's all you'll get in the whole episode. You get one big question. Let's see. Just make sure you ask a very good question. And also, just think of the question 10 times in your head before you ask it, because that's the only chance you'll get to ask a question in this episode.
Are you done?
Yeah.
What is your 3-year take on marriage? So basically, I want everyone to keep in mind, whatever Pearls of Wisdom Brut leaks, we were talking of plumbing, in this episode, it is all 3 years of expertise. Okay, just keep that's the salt you have to take a pinch of.
Yeah. It's
Go ahead, bro.
it's 3 good years of expertise.
I mean, it's only
However
the first
we put
3 years. So
It's the first 3
if you
years.
say good, obviously every 10-year-old husband
Yeah.
will roll his eyes
Yeah.
listening to that.
10-year-old husbands out there,
Uh-huh.
okay, if you think I'm not right in what I'm expressing,
No, I'm saying they're going to agree with you because it's just the first 3 years.
yeah, even if they don't,
Okay.
they need to change. They should restart their marriage and like then reevaluate the first 3 years if they don't
Wow.
remember.
You mean go through that again?
Go through the whole thing again.
Set
Go
the
back to
clock.
square one.
Set the clock
You
back.
know,
to zero.
go back
Holy
to square
shit.
one and then write their vows, figure out the right girl, and then go through the whole process.
You're just saying this because this has something to do with your parcel today. Setting the clock back to zero. But going
This
back
is
to-
this is so uncalled for.
What?
Why are you like revealing everything that I want to do this episode just because you didn't come up with the topic?
Wait, first of all,
It
it's not a
doesn't give you
suspense.
any right.
It's not a suspense that we're not trying to hide what you're. It's going to be there in the description when the episode.
Yeah, but
goes
that
out.
doesn't mean that people who are listening to it. You think somebody will read the dumb descriptions that you write? The only
course they
people
read them,
who
bro.
read, the only 2 people who read these descriptions is you and the guy who's checking for the plagiarism.
The only people who read those descriptions are people of
Even I
taste
don't read.
and culture. Okay, it's a sophisticated indulgence.
See, all the descriptions for our episodes are the homework they've been giving you at your spoken English classes.
Right. See now who's revealing things?
You started it.
Touche.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, so your big question is like,
Yes.
what is your big question?
What is your 3-year take?
3-year take. Okay, first and foremost, I want to break some myths here. Okay. Are you ready, Bogus?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel marriage, the whole concept of marriage is kind of blown out of proportions by men.
Oh, only
Saying
men,
that.
is it?
Because I can't comment from the woman's side. And I've not been the wife in the marriage
Say that
till
then.
now.
Why are you just absolving them of everything?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you.
Okay, go proceed.
Yeah. And also because most of my friends
With
are men.
caution. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You sexist pig.
I unfortunately cannot speak on behalf of my wife,
Okay.
because I'm not my wife.
Because you're not that brave. Carry on.
No.
Understandably so.
No. You can't say that. Anyway, so, but I think first and foremost, the whole thing about marriage is blown out of proportions.
What exactly is wrong?
What I mean is the whole concept of how, and also see this subjectively, putting it out there, I might be the lucky one. I don't know it yet. But
Okay, now.
but till now,
just
I've
because she
never.
listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Are you really going to use this as a sales pitch?
Never leave a loose end, Bogus. First tip of marriage. Never leave a loose end.
I think I am the lucky one. All you other guys are just posers and losers.
The thing, I have a joke for this, but I don't know how well it will board. But every husband starts thinking like a super villain after a point. You know how super villains never leave loose ends?
Cover up the tracks.
Cover up their tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Every husband, I think the reason why a lot of married men kind of relate with a villain
Right.
is not because of his agenda.
At
right?
what point do you think the villainy starts kicking in?
It's not villainy. It is just like
in that sense,
a twisted way of, thinking.
it's
where-
survivalistic. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think they're put in that position by,
No. It's not survivalistic. I don't know if that is a word. But it's more like you don't want to hurt the person.
Okay, yeah.
Men are compulsive liars. Let's start with that. We are compulsive liars.
That's an honorable excuse. You can go with that.
Yeah. Stop glorifying everything that you say. It confuses me, okay? You when you start glorifying shit for no reason,
Right.
I start doubting your intent. But men, I want to take it from the top, okay? Men are glorified. See, men are compulsive liars. Okay. I'll tell you where it starts from. We all start lying. The first person who we lie to most of the time,
Mom.
it's a mom.
Yeah.
The mother, right? And we don't lie to our moms because we try to hide from them.
Sometimes it's just an experiment also.
Yeah, just to see how she reacts.
Yeah.
Right? But most of the time that we tell something which is possibly something which is not true, right? We tell it because you know your mom will feel bad. Like, for example, if you bought like a white lie, right? I mean, in the sense, like if you bought something really expensive for her, okay, on her birthday or something like that, and she, you know that your mom is very, very, she's kind of is not a, she doesn't appreciate a lot of expenditure. You kind of tell her, it's not really expensive. Just take it. I bought it for you. Right? Similarly, you know that you're going out and you might come late, or, I mean, it's all small things, right? I think that kind of carries on. And you like it or not, your wife becomes your priority. Right. Technically, that is the convention. It should be your your wife should be your priority. If it is not, or if she is not, why am I calling my wife it? But no, if she is not my priority, there's a huge problem with me, right? I mean, I can't look at her as a commodity. So primarily for a man, the most, free-flowing relation that a guy shares with the opposite gender is with his mom, right? It most of the time starts with his mom. Then there are like girls that come or whatever, but his whole understanding is it revolves around his mother's relationship, right? And at least for me, that's how I looked at it. And every guy who I saw, and everybody kind of makes his mother's relationship a benchmark of how his wife should be in a way or not like exactly. I'll give you a small example, okay? And it's a very interesting story. So basically, all my school friends, my childhood friends, we were all chilling at my terrace, right? And we were talking about different foods and how much we all like eating different food, etc., etc., etc. And then suddenly one guy started saying that, hey, my wife is a great cook, but she doesn't cook like my mom. Okay. And then it just became like a domino effect. Everybody kind of like agreed, like, yeah, my wife cooks really well, but that one dish which I really like, it's always my mom. Like, nobody can cook like my mom, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then it kind of dawned onto me, right? My father says the same thing to me. My father keeps saying that, yeah, your mother cooks really well, but not like my mother. Like, not like my grandmom or your grandmom, right? Yeah. So then it struck me that my kid is going to say the exact same thing to his wife.
Yeah, this problem is in the family, basically, is what you're saying.
This problem is there in everybody's family, is what I'm saying. Right. You don't eat your mother's food. It's your problem.
No, I do. Of course I do.
# spoiler alert. Bogus doesn't eat food at home. He only eats broken pieces of bread from the garbage. Right. Ding. But so in that process, I kind of started figuring out that, like it or not, men kind of, or like, married people, married men, at some level start creating their mom as a benchmark. Whether it's fair or not is a completely different conversation, right? But that's how they kind of function, because that's your first set of experiences, right? Of being friendly with a woman, or some woman taking care of you. Like, they're getting you ready, they're kind of prepping you up. Yeah,
it's right? The same thing the other way as well. Like the daughters have fathers as a standard.
Exactly.
So yeah, it works both ways. Yeah.
So or elder brother, whoever they kind of share that pally relationship with. Right. So that's how it gets very tricky. In the sense of you try to like not get into it, that comparative analysis, but it so often happens that you end up comparing. Yeah. Which is, like that's why I said, I don't know whether it's a fair thing or not. That's a completely different conversation. Okay. But this is the organic thinking of a guy. When he goes home, starts talking to his wife, then this is how he's trying to have the conversation. Do you get it, Bogus? Do you understand human behavior?
What I got so far is that you're saying that the root cause of man's lies basically begin with women. That's what he said, right? It started with my mom.
With his mom, yeah.
Yeah, it starts with the mom, and then it continues to the wife.
Yeah, not with the intention to hurt them. On the contrary, not to hurt them.
The whole thing about lying itself. Yeah. Lying comes into the picture because of women, is what you were saying.
See, this is Bogus. You can be a great journalist who can,
never
package.
Ever.
Package.
Ever, never, ever. Okay.
a very good message into a horrible sentence.
Yeah.
But
all have our
having
space.
said which, yeah, you can say it that way also.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but distinctly it might.
So you've spoken a lot, but you've not actually really even begun to answer the question directly, which is the 3-year take. Now you were speaking about even before, like when you were a kid. That
No,
stage.
I was giving you the example to tell why men lie to their wives.
Yes, we I think we understood that
Yeah.
in my summary.
Because, see, Bogus, what you need to understand here is the questions that you ask
Uh-huh.
are not really very intelligent. And especially when you kept coining me as a marriage expert, which is not reality, which is not the fact.
You
I
talk
chose
about
not to.
everything like you're an expert of it.
Okay, I'll ask you, but don't you see sense in what I say?
You haven't even said the main thing. You went into flashback.
No, about everything that I speak.
Balls. Yes. No. Of course not.
Oh.
If I agreed with you on
Bogus.
everything, we wouldn't have a podcast.
We don't... not. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat what you just said? I forgot. I forgot to listen to what you just said.
I said, what was the actual point, bro? Let's get to that, like what you were saying.
So the first thing that I wanted to tell was, it's a myth buster, right? The first myth buster is it's not as bad as people exaggerate it. That marriage is so painful, etc., etc.
Uh-huh.
Second thing is, you will be amazed, right, as to how well prepared a woman is in running a house in comparison to us.
Yes.
This is the second take. Like when I got married to my wife, and then we moved houses, right?
Right.
I had zero clue about what is needed for a house to be functional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm not even exaggerating. I had zero clue. My understanding of a functional house is a TV, a fridge, a couch. That's that.
Right.
Beyond that, I just couldn't think of, okay, what else do I need, right?
We are sitting in Brut's childhood room right now and looking around.
Revelations. What is with you and
Looking
revealing everything today?
What I'm
Like
seeing.
painting a dirty picture.
Your idea of, what did you say? A home? A
Functional house.
A functional house might as well be written in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's, dimensions apart from what we're looking at right now. If only I could paint a picture. But, Brut, please go ahead. I want to see where you're going to take this.
So, okay.
Tell us more about how blessed you are in your marriage. As your wife listens to every episode. Please go ahead.
Oh, sweet Lord. You are hellbent today. What are you on, Bogus? Be honest.
I'm on life.
Oh, this a straight ripoff of Sadhguru.
Just on life.
What's the difference between Sadhguru and Bogus? Nobody knows Bogus.
I don't want you to be the only guy who's lying on this podcast. I want to give you some
Yo, what a
company.
cuteness.
Just want to give you some company
Cuteness oozing. But yeah, what I was telling about a functional house is,
Yes.
after marriage, and this is a true story, I got to know there is something called a hand towel. Do you know what a hand towel does?
It's a strange concept, but go ahead.
Because all my life, after I wash my hands,
Right.
the bottom half of my t-shirt was what I used to use to wipe my hands.
That's what it's there for, right?
Right? That's exactly what you think.
Yeah.
But then my wife introduced me to this awesome thing called a hand towel, which is like a smaller version of a towel,
Okay.
right? Which is just hung beside like the wash basin. All my life I thought that was used to clean the wash basin. But turns out you just can wipe your hands to it.
Right.
And it's not just one that we have. We have like a bunch of them around the house, right? Placed in very strategic positions where mostly you might wash your hands.
Why don't we just have one long ass towel that rolls around
The house, right? Like, yeah, just like wipe your hands.
You can just rub your face on it.
This is how men think, you know? And that's the difference. The value that she brings to making the house functional. I'll tell you another thing.
Is to cause more clutter.
For you, yes.
by buying smaller pieces of
Yeah,
houses.
but then you need to crack a deal with your wife saying that, hey, you're getting all this stuff. I'm not going to maintain them.
Right.
Right? That's a trick. That's basically, I'm not revealing too much here, but that's a very important conversation you need to have.
Okay.
The second thing that I got to know, do you know that there is another piece of cloth which is used to wipe your feet called a doormat?
Right.
And these doormats come in different material.
Yeah.
All I know is like the jute doormat which is outside the main door, right? Or the rubbery, holy thing.
Exactly.
There are other doormats which you can put in front of your bathroom, in front of your kitchen, under the sink, every place, so that the whole house is dry.
Right.
Right? So these are all the small things that came up, which were really amazing. And I started seeing a lot of value of, oh, this is what is a function house looks like.
Right.
Because as you can look around, Bogus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a water
Soak it in.
I've been trying to actually.
Right?
Yeah.
The smell.
All of it.
The uncovered.
It's an attack on the senses.
Right?
Yeah.
And imagine, then you've seen my actual house also.
Right.
The one which I live in.
Yeah.
Don't you see the difference?
Yeah, there is worlds.
That is the value, that's what I meant when I said that they are ready. Like they innately know what makes a functional house.
Right.
Right? Dustbins. Like, I mean, there's, dustbin garbage cars. All these things, right? I mean, you know of them, but you just kind of never looked into how do you use them.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is the funny part. Like, they also know how to use them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the second part, which I wanted to tell, that they are innately ready. And you have to be ready for some inferiority complex because you look dumb. Like in the first 6 months of my marriage, every time there was something that she would like, hey, we need this, for example. Right? And you're like, why do you need this? It makes no sense. Like I lived all my life without that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense to have it now. Right?
Yep.
But then when she actually obviously bypasses you and gets it anyways.
Yep.
And then you start using it. You kind of keep telling yourself, Brute, you're so dumb.
Right.
Like you couldn't see that as to how it makes your life so much better. Right?
I have already realized the importance of marriage and wives just by that one point that she's the only person in your life who can make you tell that to yourself.
Yeah.
That you're so dumb.
Yeah, it's very revealing.
While the rest of us just hope in vain. We try and hope, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, see, especially Bogus, being an expert about so many things in my life, right? I mean, I understand why you don't need a wife. Because you're dumb.
Oh, okay.
People don't have to even come and tell you.
Self-aware is what you're saying.
No, you're self-deprecating. That's what it is. Your whole childhood was based on abuse, self-inflicting pain, and unwanted sympathy. So, we know how you kind of made this. I don't even know why this is such a aggressive conversation. Like,
well,
it suddenly turned
the topic
into...
is an aggressive one,
It's not. That's what I'm trying to say.
3 years into it, yeah, it's not.
No. I've spoken to quite a bunch of people, right? In the anticipation that, hey, okay, fine. What should I be expecting?
Okay.
Right? And everybody was like, see, one thing is for sure, right? After the kids come, technically, you both are one. Because your focuses are now both of you are equally invested in the kid. And I'm talking like a normal, average couple.
Yes.
I'm not talking about this, extravagant couples who like super millionaires and who have their own businesses to run and own priorities, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about a very simple middle class, if I can say that, but an average couple, right? Who have like a day job, who have their own things to do, etc.
Right.
All of them said the same thing. And this is men and women. It's not just like the men who said it.
Okay.
They all said once the kids come in, right, you invariably become even more closer as a couple because both of you are now invested into the kid equally, right? And yes, the approach to bringing up the kid is different, but both have the same end goal. Like the kid has to be good, right? You're thinking of the best things for the kid, And I've seen it also. A lot of my friends who are now parents, right? I've seen it in them that they've become much more closer or much more uniform. That's what I would say in how they want to run their life because everything falls into place. in a way. I don't know how to explain that.
I don't disagree, but I can play devil's advocate. I have another angle that I heard. Maybe you can comment on it.
Okay.
What about the fact that before the kids come into the picture,
right?
I've heard that it's mostly the husband loves the wife loves the husband.
Yeah.
Once the kids come into the picture, the wife loves the kids. Period. And a lot of husbands, I've heard, they also sometimes go to therapy for that, just to adjust to that change in the dynamic. Because I've heard that it's not the same. It definitely, I'm not saying it's for the worse or it's a negative or anything.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the process is what I'm saying. What about that?
What I'm curious is, are these men single childs?
I'm not sure.
Because it's an interesting thing. Because as if you're born in, like, say, if you have siblings, for example.
Unless you give birth to twins, it's
no.
always going to start with
I'm talking about the man in his family. Like, if I am a single child with my parents, right? Then I'm not used to my attention being shared. And this is a common problem, okay? Men or women, either ways. Because when you're born with siblings, right? Like, you have siblings,
yes.
right? You understand the concept of shared compassion.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes,
you understand that debate that your parents have as to who to support and who not to support.
The most important thing is when you learn sharing when you don't even want to share.
Yeah.
The times when you have to share.
There is no second option.
There's no second option.
Yeah.
You just gotta share. That's when you really learn it.
Exactly.
The lesson. Yeah.
So that, I don't see that a problem, because all my friends, my circle in general, right? Barring like an exception of one or two maybe, all of them were born in like huge long list of kids, right? They have too many siblings, and not saying like own brothers, sisters, but I'm also talking about cousins who live in the same house, joint families, etc. Right? They all don't have a problem. They understand this organically.
Yeah.
They understand that, now, my wife is going to put attention on the kids. I have to take care of the other stuff. The shared responsibility becomes obvious.
I see the possibility, but then again, to also say that all of these cases could only be single children, that's not.
No, I'm saying, it would be interesting to see that side of the stats also. You Dumbo, I'm not saying that there are only single children will have a problem.
It could be a geographical constraint, though. This could be happening in a particular country. I don't think it's a global thing. I'm not sure. I've not heard cases in India like that.
Yeah, because
but then again, it's a little different here. These kinds of things don't really come out as much in the open as well.
Yeah, because that is another big problem, unfortunately. But it's not directly related to marriage per se.
Right.
But, the whole concept of, I can't take this. Somebody, and it's natural to go through stress, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. And, now you're basically not planning for one, but you're planning for 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how many kids you have and how many wives you have. Right.
Okay.
So when you're planning, and I'm talking about as a guy, right? As a guy, when you're planning, the finances or a lot of other things, you kind of start seeing that, there is lesser fat to work on, financial, and also there are so many more obligations that you get into, societal obligations, right? And this is something that you and your partner have to carefully work out. How do you go about it? Because when you marry into someone, and it's a great saying, you never marry the girl, you marry the family.
Right.
And the same thing is for the girl, right? She just doesn't marry the guy, but she marries the family.
Right. You're both marrying families. Basically.
You're both marrying families. Yeah, marriage is basically...
Should have just been one quote. But yeah, go ahead.
Stop doing this, Bogus. Okay? Every single thing. Saying. Just because, you have no strings attached to this topic. Okay? I can see that sense of free will that was coming out of your mouth.
You're envying my freedom is what I'm hearing.
No, I'm saying that
you're seething.
How can you...
With jealousy.
How more wrong can you go in deducing somebody's statement?
Right, of course I'm kidding.
Which is why you're dumb, Bogus. Dumb is an understatement. The dumbest person in the world is probably has a better IQ than you. I apologize for that. That was too harsh. I did mean it, but it's too harsh nevertheless.
Yeah, but because I clearly said I was kidding.
Okay, I apologize once again for the record, and I hope we are recording. Yeah. So, what was I saying, Bogus? Let me test your memory.
Idea. what you were saying was,
you marry the family.
yes.
You marry the family. So therefore, there are going to be obligations. Like everybody, every person across the families are going to, kind of call you for lunch or like invite you personally,
Yeah.
etc. And suddenly you're like this family man, right? Or you're the family person.
There are formalities. Yeah.
Yeah. So that becomes very stressful, if not anything else. Now you're actually trying to figure out like time to, okay, fine, what do I do with my free time? Like when do I get my free time? That is definitely there. But I feel that's like a small price to pay. Not a small price, a big price to pay. But nevertheless, you have to fight for that time. Otherwise, you're just having your free time whenever you want, right? You can just say that, you can tell your parents, you go to the function, I'm not coming. And you sit at home and I don't know what you do alone in the room. But you don't have to fight for the free time or me time that you call. You know what I say?
You're talking about me?
No, in general. Like, obviously, I mean, just you and me in this room. So,
Yeah. Was that a question?
no, it was just like a rhetorical
Just an example.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
from the outside, Bogus, tell me honestly, how do you see marriage? It's an interesting thing. I want to know, how do you see marriage from the outside?
From the outside,
Like, does it scare you, or do you think it's a sensible thing to do, or like, what's your take?
I mean, for me, when I was younger, it started off as something. It started off as being something that I couldn't imagine or picture myself in that frame. That I didn't really see myself in that, and I couldn't even process it. So I felt like, it's not for me, for now at least. Maybe I'll change my mind later. And right now, it is still pretty much the same. But
let me reiterate.
But there is a little bit of a change now.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
The suspense is coming out.
No. Which is that, there is definitely some value to it. It is the traditional thing to do, right? And especially if you luck out and you get a good partner, then you have companionship for life. And you have, you're not going it all alone, basically. So there's a lot of value in that. I definitely see that now. So I'm not close to the idea right now, but it's like...
But are you sold on the whole concept of the institution of marriage?
I'm not sold on the legal aspect at all. Like nowhere.
That's
sold.
why I said the concept, because listen to me carefully.
I'm just saying, because you brought in other aspects, right?
Like
just
what?
For the record, I won't go into it. Just the whole legal structure that exists right now.
What is the legal structure? When did I bring up legal structures?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay.
That's the only thing. But conceptually,
Yeah.
definitely makes sense, because it's not like I have bad examples to look around. There are good examples.
Yeah.
It's just it turned out for whatever reason, personally for me, I just never felt it from within that, I want to get settled down or,
Okay, I have another interesting question. And this is something that I used to wonder, but I'll ask you nevertheless. Do you look at your parents and try to like evaluate marriage or married life?
No.
No?
Because I look at them as individuals who have their own high level of merit for making it work through, trials and tribulations, and there were hardships and all of that. But still, they made it work, and they did a great job. But then at the same time, I know of other examples that are not so favorable. They're not so great. Can't really compliment.
Right.
Flawed.
Right.
So can't really look at just just two people or my parents and then make a judgment on marriage like that, when you can see other examples also that it turns out like everything else, there's good and there's bad,
It's all subjective at the end of the day. Because the reason why I asked is because a lot of people seem to do that.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah.
They look at their parents' marriage and say like, either they're like, oh, this is exactly how marriage would be.
It's a frog in the well kind of reaction. It's just the first thing you look at, you can't base your whole thing around it. Yeah.
And another interesting conversation, I don't know if you ever had this. did you speak to your father about the concept of marriage?
Holy shit.
Not like
Many conversations.
not like your father telling you better get married,
Right.
etc. But like, go to the brass tacks of what marriage is.
No, so with my father, it doesn't just stop at, hey, you're getting old, get married. It doesn't stop there. It also gets into an argument about why he thinks, the reasoning behind his push.
As to why you should be getting married.
He's trying to get me to see his reason, basically.
Right.
And there's no flaws in his argument.
You're right.
There's nothing wrong in what he's saying. And so I tell him the same thing. And I just say it's a very subjective thing for me.
Right.
I don't know why, but it's just different.
But does he get your reasons as to why, say, you don't want to get into marriage?
I don't think he
right
gets
now?
them. I think he knows that I'm making a mistake. Basically, that's the vibe I get. That he knows that this is a wrong decision. I don't think he gets it or is sold. Obviously not. Because it is going against conventional wisdom for sure. Like, I also have to acknowledge that from my side, right? So
you do believe that there is a right age of marriage, or you at least agree to that? That this is the age bracket where people should get married.
I mean, it becomes very obviously true when you know that there are biological timelines. The best time for fertility in someone's life,
right,
man or woman,
right,
so according to that, if a society decides that this is the ideal way to go about it,
right,
then there's no arguing against it. But then the doors should not be completely closed off to any other latecomers. Or basically what I'm saying
correct.
is,
It's like the health of the overall
it's not
family.
ideal. I mean, that is ideal because it's going along with even the biological timelines.
Right.
So if someone plans it well like that, then that is the ideal way. Obviously.
Then in that sense, if you're agreeing to the fact that yes, there might be a biological time bomb.
There is
in a way.
It's not even might be. There is.
Right. So you agree to the fact that there is a biological time bomb, which is ticking away.
Yeah.
Right. Then if you're taking that conversation out of the picture, what is your definition of marriage according to you? Just like your subjective definition of marriage, what do you perceive as, okay, fine, this is what marriage is?
It's a team. That's the simplest I can bring it down or boil it down. It's teamwork.
Right.
You're signing up with someone to share everything, rather than have to go it alone by yourself. To share, not only share everything, but also to make something new as well.
Right.
That is a part of a piece of both of you.
Right.
And so that becomes a whole different thing, which of course we don't know anything about because we aren't there yet. But that's what we hear at least, right? Or that's the conventional take on it. But I think that's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for teamwork and you're signing up for companionship. Yeah.
I get it, what you're saying. Interestingly, my take on marriage before I got married was a little different.
Okay.
In the sense, it is teamwork at the ground level.
Yeah.
It is about having that person, that partner, where you kind of foresee a plausible future.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you're a gold digger who's marrying a 93-year-old tycoon. All that stuff, that's different from teamwork.
Yeah, we're just going by the general consensus, Bogus. Stop making it more controversial than it already is.
Oh, this is not controversial.
It is. Like, there will be people saying that, hey, I did marry a very rich person, but it's because I love. Yeah, my love was pure. How will you ever decode that a person is not a gold digger?
Yeah.
Right? You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. Like, unless there's a murder in the picture, right? Then it's a different topic altogether. But no, so my take on marriage was more of, it was a combination of conviction and commitment. All I wanted to know was whether I was ready to commit with 100% conviction.
Right.
And somehow I felt everything else will fall in its place. Like the whole concept of, teamwork, sharing things, being vulnerable to each other, at the maximum level.
So you moved ahead only after you were at 100% conviction, or did you try
With
to slide
myself.
by with like 92% and you're like,
See, I'm not dead all to start off
I'm
with.
almost there.
I'm not like 99.9% jump protection, okay?
Right.
I'm like 100%. There is no gray area. It's either black or white.
Yeah, so you got to 100 and then you said, okay.
So when I started having those conversation in my head as to like, okay, Brute, like, you know, how do you see marriage? Like, where do you see yourself? Etc. Etc. After a point, the second opinion started fading out.
Right.
There was no second opinion in the sense, yeah, maybe you have like another thing, or maybe you want to wait it out, maybe your career is important, maybe so many external factors, right? So they all started disappearing over a period of time.
Okay.
And it was all about, Brute, you have to marry, right? You need that companionship, you need to, you have to start looking out for it.
Okay.
And that was it. I was just trying to be very sure about whether I can give 100% commitment to the person who I'll marry.
Right.
And also, I mean, it's again.
Yes, you are blessed. Yes.
No. Also, the fact that I kind of daydream the shit out of the person who I want to marry.
Okay.
I had a very clear picture of the person, kind of person.
You had a list.
I didn't have a list. I had list of what?
Metaphorically, the checkpoints, like the.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
The boxes list that had to be checked off.
Right. The list predominantly, comprised of different situations.
Comprised.
Yeah. Hello. I sent you to spoken English. That means I already went there.
Right. Go ahead.
I mean, it was based on situations, right? When I met the person, it was all about whether that person will fit all these different scenarios. Like my friend circle, like my family, because, every family functions differently.
Right.
So you also want to make sure that, they bode well with this family, this kind of functioning also. So that was predominantly the list or whatever. But as a person, with respect to their characteristics or their personality, right, I was very clear of who this person should be, what this person should be like, right? And that kind of made it very easy to find the one, if like people say that.
Okay.
Right? And but the thing about the concept of marriage for me in definition sense was, it was basically a combination of commitment and conviction. It was as simple as that. I thought everything else will fall in its place when you have that. You will make it work. You will kind of work it out. I mean, you will have teething issues and all, but you will work it out types.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But yeah, I mean, it's a good mindset to have going into it. But of course, you have to be ready.
You can't be rigid about it.
Yeah, you have to be ready to respond and react to the other person.
Right.
As well.
Right. So you have to be open and, whatever, all those things that people say.
All of those things.
Yeah, all of those things about marriage that
Wonderful
people
things.
say.
Yeah.
But yeah. You know how a good marriage is?
How? You have to tell me because I have no idea.
I am telling you.
Go ahead.
You're not listening.
Oh, you're trying to be deep and shit. Silence, is it?
Yeah. That's how a good marriage is.
Right.
That was the 3 years of learning of marriage.
Which is you learn to stop talking to each other.
Yeah, you can put it that way. Like when you get to know the real me, you tend to take the back seat and just listen to me rather than talk.
That's it. You just realize silence is golden.
Yes, that is also true. And that's because, again, I'll reiterate, men are compulsive liars. So after you lie, the smartest thing to do is like keep quiet.
Right. Is that the takeaway of this episode?
That is the takeaway of this episode, guys.
For new and budding husbands out there.
Yeah. Don't worry about the lying. Worry about what you do post lying.
Worry about shutting the fuck up just after you lie.
Yeah, just be quiet.
Wow. I think I've learned something new today. And I'll probably apply this if and when I do cross the bridge.
You will, Bogus. We all will.
Let's see.
And once again, I want to remind you, because you bought the whole concept of being an expert.
Okay.
You haven't even scratched
God.
the surface of my worth.
How many times does your wife have to put up with this phrase, I wonder?
Can you calculate 3 into number of days? 3 years. How many days is like 3
3
years?
into 365 is what you're saying.
That's it.
Awesome.
So that was today's episode, guys. Marriage. And we expect that there will be enough ripples created
Mm-hmm.
because we went on a pretty dangerous path, Bogus.
Not for me.
Not for you, but I put myself out there.
Right.
And I hope that this episode doesn't reach.
All you said was how much of a lucky husband you were. That's the risk you took in this episode.
And for all you care, I'm a compulsive liar.
Yeah, that's what.
The foundation of this conversation started with.
But you didn't shut up just after that. For the next 45 minutes, you kept talking. So who knows what's going to be happening to Brut?
There might be a guest in our next episode who will be validating this episode.
Right. Signing off on it.
Yeah.
And so now, after all that talk and self-justification on matrimony, Brut,
Yeah. And
brings us to... Yeah, go ahead.
the first episode
Mm-hmm.
where we absolutely didn't go anywhere. Like, if there was an open ending to any of our episodes,
Oh, yeah.
this is the epitome of an open
Open-ended.
conversation
Yeah.
in itself. Because I don't think like we made any sense for the last whatever time that we spoke.
But I still think it kind of makes sense because it would be foolish to conclude on a topic like marriage when I haven't even started
Yeah.
and you have barely started.
Yeah.
So,
It's too ineligible talking about.
yeah. But it's it is like, you can think of it as a pit stop conversation. Like, oh, we're here now.
Yeah.
This is what we're thinking of right now.
Correct.
Tomorrow, maybe we'll think something
We'll get
else.
back to it.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it with more updates.
Oh, yeah.
We are all product of what we are experiencing today.
Right.
We are like just any other Android OS where you get an update every 4 weeks.
Do we?
At least we like to believe that.
Yeah.
But yes, Bogus, now coming to what we can.
One of the tools for surviving a marriage is watching movies.
Watching movies. That's exactly how you survive a marriage.
Welcome to the Parcel section.
Parcel section.
Audience favorite, of course. We're coming back to the
Highly asked for.
most liked section of this podcast, which hurts a little bit, not gonna lie, but because it's someone else's work. you know.
Exactly. And also it is hence strategically placed
Right.
in the end of the episode.
Yeah, of
Or
course.
is it at the end of the episode? Whichever.
At the end. Potato.
Potato.
Right.
Right.
So, Brut, what do you have for us today?
So my parcel section, Bogus, firstly, thanks a lot for letting me go first. My parcel section recommendation for the 14th episode is a movie called The Groundhog Day.
Ah,
Have you seen The Groundhog Day?
I don't even remember if I've watched it, but I know the storyline.
Very, very interesting storyline.
Yeah.
Pretty strong cast.
Yes.
There is Bill Murray, who's leading.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think is a very underrated actor, actually. He did some really strong roles back in the day and then he kind of fizzled out.
Was this not directed by Harold Ramis?
Harold Ramis, right.
Underrated director as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not much into the direction department. But he acted alongside Bill Murray in Ghostbusters before that.
Yeah.
So which was a very popular movie back in the day.
Even Groundhog is very popular.
But I haven't seen a lot of people actually talk about it. It got
Okay.
released in 1993 and it's a very interesting story. Basically, there is this weatherman who's played by Bill Murray as a very uncommon American name.
Uh-huh.
Can you guess the name of the character?
George.
Phil Connors.
Okay.
So uncommon. So he's sent to this town in Pittsburgh or someplace, right, where he's supposed to cover the Groundhog Day. And what essentially the tradition of that particular festival or whatever is everybody in the town gathers around a groundhog
Right.
and have some kind of like a weird conversation with it. And the groundhog basically tells how much more they have to prepare for the winters.
Right.
right? So that's basically a very dull event, not really highly spoken about. And this guy is a very self-centered, the lead, which is Bill Murray, is a very self-centered character. He's not satisfied with anything in life, and he keeps having so many problems with everything. And he literally despises going to that town, right?
Okay.
So what happens is he wants to get done with it and go back to his city or wherever he came from. But this is where things get really kind of tricky. Every day where he gets up in the town is the same day. That is the 2nd of February. It is Groundhog Day, essentially.
Okay.
Right? So he keeps getting confused as to why he is getting up on the same day. Right? And he's trying to figure out. And in the process,
so he's stuck in a loop.
He's stuck in a loop, right?
Right.
Which is exactly like marriage. You're stuck no matter what you do. But we can cut that out, actually. I don't want to risk myself so much.
I don't think even your wife listens this far into the podcast episode.
Yeah, that was kind of what I kind of, limbed on.
Yeah.
But anyways, so he's stuck in the loop and he basically living the same day again and again. He kind of goes into a trip of self-realization, kind of corrects himself,
right?
Sees where he is actually going wrong in life or as a person. And it's a very interesting and it's a very well-made movie, I mean, it's not an easy job. Why this is my recommendation is, it's not an easy job to show the same day again and again for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right? So how can you make it interesting?
Right.
Right? I mean, think about it as a storyteller.
It would be one hell of a screenplay to
fantastic
write.
Screenplay.
Yeah,
it's
very tough.
Beautiful, and it's a good tempo movie. It's not boring, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not something where you watch like half an hour and you feel like, oh, how long will this movie go types. Obviously, Bill Murray is one of the comic geniuses which is there out right now. So it's a very funny movie also. And I'll not reveal what happens, but essentially he has this routine. So he gets kind of like irritated with the same routine.
Right.
Like he gets up in the morning, he switches off his alarm, then he gets ready, goes down, his mom calls. So there's this proper routine which is repeating every day like clockwork, right?
Right.
How does he get out of that chain? How does he, I mean, like he kind of becomes very, he starts craving for the next day, which never comes.
Right. It's like a metaphor of our repetitive lives. Sometimes we get into that rut,
right?
Where everything we're doing the same thing,
right,
day in day out.
So how do you break the wheel?
Yeah,
right. So that's the movie Groundhog Day, made by the lead is Bill Murray, the female lead is Rita something
Wilson.
I don't know who she is. I have to check it out.
It's not Rita Wilson. It's someone else.
And the villain is also the villain of the movie is also pretty famous actor. He's not well known. Chris Elliott. I don't know how many of you have known him. I think he was also there in Home Alone. I don't know if that is the case, but
this
Chris
guy,
Elliott. He's he has done some pretty good roles.
Yeah, I remember him from those scary movie. The parody comedy movies. He's a good
comic.
Yeah.
So it's a good movie. Go check it out, guys. I don't know where to find it. I've tried searching it on the traditional OTTs, didn't get them. But you should check this out. Groundhog Day.
Awesome. So my parcel for this episode is a German movie from 1972 called Aguirre, The Wrath of God. The original title is Aguirre der Zorn Gottes, and it was directed by the world famous director
from Germany.
Werner Herzog, who
was he world famous in Germany?
No, he was world famous everywhere.
Okay.
Basically, this movie stars Klaus Kinski, a German actor who also was known to be a little bit eccentric in real life, tough to manage, and also Werner Herzog himself is also a bit
eccentric.
Yeah, okay. He's a bit wacko himself. So both these guys got together on the film set for the first time, working together. It became a famous partnership because they made 5 movies after that. But part of the legend of this movie also is how these two volatile personalities got together and clashed, literally. They had many physical brawls on set.
Whoa.
There was a time when the director had to even point a gun at his lead actor to get him to behave.
Oh, sweet.
And it was the fault was not always on just one side.
Is this the right reason why they became world famous, or was it for their
It
art
added
and
to the
skill?
legend. Like
Okay.
they were very talented in their own walks of life,
Uh-huh.
but just this added to the legend of it.
Okay.
So Aguirre, this movie, let me set the context for you. Okay,
Okay.
it's the 15th century.
15th
Okay.
century. Okay.
Mexico has already been taken by Cortez.
Mexico.
Hernan
okay.
Cortez, the Spanish conquistadors.
Oh,
They've already taken over
conquistadors.
Mexico. They've now already also captured the Inca Empire.
Inca.
So
means
after
theirs.
South America, so
South
the Amazon rainforest.
Amazon rainforest.
So
Okay.
after they've taken over the Inca Empire,
Inca
now the
Empire
Spanish
taken
Empire is looking to explore further into the Amazon jungles because there's this
Jungle.
legend of a city called El Dorado,
El Dorado is
which translates to the city of gold.
city of gold.
So there was a legendary city called El Dorado that all these empires like Spain, probably Dutch or the Portuguese, they were after. They wanted
El
to keep.
Dorado is Spanish?
El Dorado is a Spanish word.
Spanish word El Dorado.
Yes, take
Got it.
notes.
Yeah.
So they were competing against other empires to find this city first and basically, conquer that place before the others.
The race was
So the Spanish leadership appoints a small team of people to get on a boat and go through the Amazon jungles and find these hidden
city.
city of
City of
gold.
Silver. Gold.
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 So it's a story of how this crew, they start their journey, and the whole movie is set in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh.
So the lush, thick jungles of Amazon, you have this crew running out of supplies.
Crew is running around.
You have this crew
crew.
Crew
Crew
of
is
people.
People of crew.
They're running out of their supplies, and slowly the captain of the ship, who becomes Aguirre, the guy who the movie is based on,
Yeah.
he was not the captain of the ship when the trip starts.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, he gets to be the captain of the ship, and he becomes like a tyrant. He goes completely mad. It's a story of a slow descent into madness of this guy.
Slow descent.
And what happens on the journey to the other people around him, how he manages the situation in this search for the legendary city of gold. That's the story of Aguirre, the Wrath of God. And another interesting trivia about this movie is the way this movie was shot. It actually inspired the making of a future Parcel, Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse. No,
Yeah,
future
so that's my recommendation this week. Aguirre der Zorn Gottes.
Awesome.
Watch that movie, guys.
Crazy. I made like 17 pages of notes.
Good.
It's intense.
So that brings us to the end of the 14th episode.
14th episode has officially ended, ladies and gentlemen.
We're just rolling by them.
Yeah. 14.
Wow. Share, guys. Share
Appalling.
the podcast with your friends.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be had. Not just for you. Don't be selfish.
I'm just going to like also go on a stretch right now.
Mm-hmm.
Write to us, guys. I know for a fact that you want to tell us so many things about what we can speak about.
Yeah.
Right? So you can DM us on Instagram.
Yeah, just because we don't have an official email yet, that doesn't become an excuse.
Right. Because last time what also happened, you might all have known about, the Gmail crashing down.
Yeah.
So we lost all our original audio recordings.
See?
And it took us like a grand 40 minutes to get them back from the support team. So if you want an extra 20 GB in your Google Drive, just complain to the support saying that, hey, we just lost my file, so can you retrieve it? And they'll add extra 20 GB of space.
Yeah,
on your
and
Google
you'll
Drive.
feel great that you pulled off such an awesome scam.
Awesome scam the
only
banks.
to find that a day or two later they take those GBs back.
Yes.
All right, Google, classy move.
Mm-mm.
But isn't there a new thing you learn every day with the ThyGap podcast, huh, Brut?
Absolutely fresh, out of the garden
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
And best thing about these are very practical things that we teach.
Yeah.
These are better than DIY,
True.
right?
So until next Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, ThyGap. Subscribe.
And share.
Und share.
Uns. Aluvidach. Dude, my teeth fell off.
Hey, thanks for listening. You can follow this podcast on Spotify to get notified of new episodes every Thursday. We're also on Apple Podcasts for those of you who have partaken in the forbidden fruit. If you liked what you heard, leave us a 5-star rating and a comment. Say anything like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. A rating and a comment really helps us out. It's free, and I'm told that's a great price. But enough about us, huh? Tell us about yourself. Leave us a comment. Our Twitter is @ThyGap and we are _ThyGap on Instagram.